So my name's James Knight, been in China for 4 years now, and in Shenzhen they have some very unusual businesses. The kind of businesses, maybe some are a little bit recognisable, but then others are very different to the kind of businesses you'd get in the West. So I thought that in today's video we could go and have a look around Shenzhen and see if we could try and find some businesses, and I could explain to you how they're a little bit different compared to some businesses in the UK or Europe or North America. So just behind me here is a shop, and it provides a service where blind people will give you massages and different kinds of traditional Chinese therapies like Ba Hou Guan. Ba Hou Guan is when someone puts hot cups onto your back. The heat takes out all the air inside the cups and creates a vacuum, and the vacuum then sucks the skin inside the cup. Chinese people do this because they think that if there's too much heat in your body, that can make you unhealthy. So the Ba Hou Guan can take the heat out of your body. But what's interesting about this business is the fact that it only employs blind people. It's an interesting way of getting blind people employed in China. And also it's just a different kind of business. It's not a business you'd normally get in the UK. So just behind me here is a herbal tea shop, and this is a business that sells herbal tea. Herbal tea is pretty popular in this province, Guangdong province, because of the heat. It's kind of similar to the blind massage shop in the sense that, you know, it's to do with traditional Chinese medicine and traditional Chinese healthcare, and people here think that herbal tea is a good thing because it can help take the heat out of your body. So people in this province particularly like to drink herbal tea because the climate here is very hot and they think it's good for you. So just behind me here is a shop that sells dried food, and they'll sell things like dried dates, dried mushrooms and some dried herbs. And sometimes people will eat these things just as snacks here, but then also people will use it to make soups out of. And I would say that you will see this quite a lot in Cantonese places like Guangzhou, or a little bit in Shenzhen, but Shenzhen's an immigrant city, so perhaps it's a little bit less popular. And I'm not saying that, you know, this is the only place in China that has these things, but I've noticed it being more frequent in this part of China. So I'm in the Uniwalk Mega Mall here in Shenzhen, and this is one of the more expensive and more glamorous malls here in Shenzhen. And just behind me is a shop that sells designer masks, and it's kind of crazy to think that the pandemic has gone on long enough now where someone sees it as a feasible idea to fork out an expensive rent in a mall just to sell designer masks. But it's a very interesting business, and a different business to the kind of businesses that you'd usually expect, so it's on my list. So just behind me here is a restaurant called Space Lab, and what's interesting about this restaurant is the service is completely automated. I think this business sells a lot of Western food as well, but you'll order the food on an iPad, and then the food will come to you through some tubes, and they'll just pop out the tubes right at your table, which is quite futuristic. It makes you feel like it's a business idea that's came from like a 1960s sci-fi movie or something. It's a bit bizarre. I think what's interesting about businesses is because obviously a business supplies a demand. So it's a good way of understanding a different culture because, you know, obviously people will have certain demands in that culture and businesses are there to supply them. So I think that by having a look at what kind of businesses there are in China, you'll get a really good idea about what the culture's like here. And obviously it's quite diverse too, you know. Some of the businesses are more traditional, some of them are very futuristic, and some of them have just came out of current events. So that's kind of interesting, isn't it? So I hope you like this video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.